dance for joy or lust or anger.
Sensible second-hand reviews for series where we look at cars that you can buy, but are practical and sensible for a budget of between £1,000 and £5,000. This is a 2017 Jeep Renegade 1.4 DCCT Longitude. Is it any good? Should you care? Let's find out, shall we? So the Jeep Renegade was launched in 2015. It's built in Italy, same production line as the Fiat 500X, which it shares a lot of components. It's actually based on the same platform as the old Fiat Grande Punto, and in some ways you can sort of tell because these indicator wiper stalks do feel very similar to one of those. When it was launched, the engines available in this country anyway, there are so many engines available all around the world, but in this country anyway, the basic engine was a 1.6 e-torque engine. It's very distantly related to the old Tritec engine found in the old R50 Mini, in that case generating 108 horsepower. I think those were built in South America. Then this engine, the 1.4 Multiair turbo, that's distantly related to the old fire engine that was launched in 1985 in Fiat Uno, I think it was. There is this 138 brake horsepower version and a 167 brake horsepower version that's available with four-wheel drive. In 2018, the car was very heavily facelifted and the engine's completely changed. The 1.6 or 1.4 engines were replaced with what they call the Firefly engines, which were developed as like a new generation along with Chrysler. The basic engine became a 1 litre 3-cylinder with 118 horsepower. Then there were two 1.3 3-cylinder engines with 147 and 177 horsepower. Above that, actually, recently there's been a 1.5 standard hybrid that's come in, which generates 128 horsepower. There goes my preparation sheet. In addition to that, we've got a couple of plug-in hybrids, one with 187 brake horsepower and an absolute monster with 237 horsepower. Those both also use the 1.3 Firefly engine. There are also some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. We do talk about is the sort of ease of driving this. The driving position is weird. I'm so much lower than I normally would be. I kind of feel a bit sort of lost with this enormous amount of headroom. I feel like in some ways I should jack the seat a little bit higher, but I won't do that. It just feels very sort of safe and kind of predictable. There's not as much body roll as I was expecting for a tall car. And it's quite comfortable actually as well. The suspension's very comfortable. It's you know, not maybe as good to drive as some of the other cars which are in this class. A Suzuki Vitara, for example, would be a bit better to drive than this, but you know, it's pleasant enough. Very unusual looking car, the Jeep Renegade. You don't see too many of them around at all. This one is actually a 2017. It's got a personal plate on it. Don't know whether the personal plate will be staying on this one or not. We'll have to see about that, I suppose. It is awaiting some preparation, this car. There are some faults at the moment that need to be rectified before it actually goes out to a customer. But outside, it looks really good. We've got some really nice details, like these rear lights. The roof rails on this Longitude model look great, and as well, this car's obviously been used for towing. We've got the tow bar on it too. Certainly a better looking car in my opinion than the Fiat 500X that it's actually based on. Built in the same factory, of course, in Italy, so nice Italian-American connection going on there. I think these big chunky tyres with the sort of smaller alloy wheels than some of these have suit this car actually pretty well in my opinion. Right, the aftermarket camera I don't think is working. Parking sensors are good. There we go. I don't think I want one without them actually, the room is quite small. So we've got a relatively big boot in this one actually. As you can see, it does need a bit of a clean and things. I'll just put it up there. We've got twin boot lights. Actually, it's quite a practical shape. I think it's under 400 litres. It's not the biggest boot, but it's good. Let's just move these out of the way and see if we can look underneath the line that someone's put in here. See if you've actually got a spare tyre. No, we've actually not got a spare tyre on this one. We've got the puncture repair kit instead. It's not what I would choose, but there we go. Got some hooks either side. Got some luggage nets. This one's bigger than the other side. And you can actually adjust the height of the boot floor, putting it at the top if you want to. Which will give you a nice flat area for loading things in and out. Tailgate's quite big actually for a car like this. So get in the back. Yeah, it needs a good hoover up, but it's no surprise really, is it? Let's see if we can get in. Yeah, it's pretty comfortable in here actually. I would expect a car like this to have a centre armrest, but never mind. What we do have though, and we'll show on this side actually, because it's a bit more light, is these little grills of the speakers. I mean, literally speaker grills and a grill there too. The 7-bar Jeep grill, which is good. Rear electric windows, obviously hard platted at the top, that's no surprise. Got map pockets as well, that's very nice. Loads and loads and loads of headroom, and actually it's not that dark in here. I'm quite surprised considering the small size of the rear window and the fact that the glass is actually quite heavily tinted. Got tiny little rear windows as well, tiny little ones right at the back. So yeah, practical for putting the family in that, isn't it? The hip point's quite good as well. If you've got mobility issues or something like that, it'd be quite handy. Got heated seats in this one, which is good. One thing you don't get is automatic lights or wipers for some reason. I don't quite know why, but never mind. Door handle actually feels pretty good. Got some typical sort of Fiat type or maybe Alfa Romeo switchgear in this one actually. Weirdly, the area on the rev counter, which shows a place where you shouldn't be, has this strange little splash effect. It's really strange. There we go, this is 1941. Let's just dust that off a bit. There we go, 1941. More grills and grills. Bottle holder in the door. This one isn't auto. Again, got down there another Jeep grill. Automatic handbrake on this. It doesn't matter so much as an auto, but if this was a manual, I'd like to see a nice normal handbrake. Big cup holders. You can tell that obviously they sell this over in America. USB port is down there. Another USB port there and an aux in. 2 USB ports. Fantastic. Another 12-volt socket there. just need to have a grab handle on the actual dash. You can get these with four-wheel drive as well. You can get front-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. Oh wait, oh, wow. It's interesting. That presumably is Italian number. 008,000. I am Jeep. Gosh, we're really going in for the kind of just American cultural stereotypes, aren't we? Yeah, huge amounts of headroom, like virtually no other car I've driven. Like a van, the amount of headroom you get. I mean, I've put the seat down, but I feel quite small driving this, which is unusual for me. I could jack the seat up and feel a bit higher up, but I quite like it down. I pulled the steering wheel down a bit, which improved it. But yeah, very, very sort of tall car. That looks like an old Fiat Punto part, that, which of course it might be, because this car is actually distantly related to the Fiat Grande Punto. For whatever reason, there's a couple of warnings on the dash which are going to be sorted out. One says the stereo's not working, but it is. I don't know what's going on. So we've got a little TomTom sat nav. It's a very small screen. It's a 5-inch screen. It's kind of similar to the ones that were fitted to the early Fiat Tipos, which are also kind of on the same platform as this one, actually. Sort of, not quite. But yeah, there is that if you want it. View map. Maybe that's what's not working. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, media. Let's try that. No media device available. Phone. Okay, it's play devices. Radio. Yeah, there's not much else there. Apps. Uconnect. It's some kind of old kind of Chrysler system, isn't it? I'm not that familiar with that. One thing I'm very pleased about is the idiot-proof heating and ventilation controls. They're not buried in a touch screen. There's only 3 dials on here. I think maybe on the limited or a higher model than this, you could get climate control. It's only got aircon, which is absolutely fine because it's nice and simple to operate all of these. It's no problem. Don't need the air conditioning though at the moment, really. That's on max AC, that's why we turned that off. Yeah. It's nice and easy. Right, let's see if my secret mission documents actually go in there, rather than faffing around. I like this little wallet you get, which is very kind of outdoorsy thing. Nope. No, you can't put them in there either. That's not very good for you. Can I rest them in here? Yes! That's going to be a bit of a hazard though if that flies forward and hits passenger's face. Never mind. Yeah, so far so good. You can set up really high. You feel like you're king of the road. Very flat windscreen for a modern car. Let's take a look under the bonnet, shall we? This is the 1.4 litre Multiair turbo engine. It generates 138 horsepower, and it's actually a version of the old fire engine that dates back to the mid-1980s. They do have a cam belt. The later sort of fire engines like this actually are relatively reliable if you look after them. But just don't skip on the maintenance, it's generally not a good idea. They can blow head gaskets, but I don't know if the Multiair turbo ones do. Certainly the sort of lesser sort of 1.2s and 1.4s can do that, but it's not inevitable or anything. So all packed in, there's not really a lot to see in here. Wouldn't want to do too much home maintenance on this, for example. It's all sort of covered up, really. But perhaps it's a bit easier than you'd imagine. The car is quite sort of high off the ground, so that would help. I think it is a nice looking car. You can still buy one of these brand new, albeit with some different engines. Yeah. I can see why somebody would like one of these. So we're on our way back to Langley Prestige in Chelmsford, who very kindly allowed me to drive this car today. Thank you again to Simon and Dale. And actually, I like this car a lot more than I expected to. I think it's because it's one of these cars, but you feel like if you've got the four-wheel drive version, obviously this is just a front-wheel drive one. If you got the four-wheel drive version, then you feel like it actually could go off-road and it would be okay. It just feels very substantial in that way. I don't like perhaps some of the interior so much, but certainly just driving it feels really good. I'm really surprised about that, actually. It feels so much more like a proper off-roader, even though it probably isn't in some ways, than anything else of this size I've ever driven. Certainly more like a Nissan Duke or something like that. Yeah, I'm actually quite impressed. It's automatic, it's nice and smooth. You can get all sorts of automatic gearboxes. There were, I think, 4 different automatic gearboxes depending on what engine you got. Some of them are 9-speed. I think this is a 6-speed, a twin clutch gearbox. But yeah, I didn't know really what I think about this when I started researching it, but I sort of like it actually. Lloyd Vehicle Consulting stickers, t-shirts and mugs are available by clicking the link to the Google form in the video description below. Let's now look at some Jeep Renegade trim levels, viewers. So when the car was launched in 2015, the ones that were the usual specifications were Sport, Longitude like this, and Limited. There's since been an awful lot of others, such as the 75th anniversary. I assume the 75th anniversary was, gosh, 2016. 80th anniversary will be from 2021. The Dawn of Justice, wow, that's quite time. The Desert Hawk, the Night Eagle, the Night Eagle 2, the opening edition. I wonder if that was when the car was launched. The S Limited, the Tough Mudder. I suspect some of you had heard of a Tough Mudder event. The Trail Hawk, which is the most off-road focused one, and the Upland. So viewers, should you consider a Jeep Renegade for your hard-earned budget of between £1,000 and £5,000, well, you're not going to get an awful lot of Renegade for your money for £5,000. There are some really early ones out there, quite high mileage for that sort of money, but if you want one that's kind of like this, an automatic one with quite low mileage, it's going to be in excess of £10,000, and of course you can still buy a brand new one today. I quite like this car. I didn't expect to, but I do quite like it. I don't know why. I think it's the really in your face styling, and the fact that it's very much off-road focused, like, the Fiat 500X. It just isn't in comparison. There are some issues with this car which will be sorted out before it's sold to a buyer. But yes, I've enjoyed this a lot more than I expected, viewers. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video and comment below, and we shall see you again soon for more reasonably priced motoring.